Hi and welcome back. This is Algebra 2 and today's lesson is 2.10, Polynomial Long Division. I know that sounds like a really daunting name, but surprisingly enough, kids love doing this. And once you get good at it, you'll see why. It's not overly hard, and it's kind of a fun process. So in exercise 1, we're just going to review the concepts of dividing, long division, okay? So if you consider the problem 1,519 divided by 7, which is the same thing as 1519 divided by 7, and we're going to set it up as 7 divided into 1519. All right, so remember, when it has 1519, that means this goes on the inside, and the 7 goes on the outside, because that's what we're dividing by. So we ask ourselves, 7 goes into 15 how many times? Well, 2 times, because we know that 7 times 14, 7 times 2 is 14. Now, the rule is now you subtract them, and 15 minus 14 is 1, and then bring down the 1 from here. 7 goes into 11 once, which is 7. And now again, we're going to subtract, and 11 minus 7 is 4, and now bring down the 9. And 7 goes into 49 7 times, 49 with a remainder of 0. So we know that 7 is a factor of 1,519 because we have a remainder of 0. All right, so the answer here is 217. We're going to apply the same process to doing division of polynomials. So let's consider this one right here. So hopefully you have enough time for this. I say so a lot. Sorry about that. X plus 6 into 2x squared plus 15x plus 18. One of the key things here is to make sure you write the problem down properly. All right, so there's that so again. X goes into 2x squared how many times? Now, remember, what our objective is here is that we want 2x squared over here. So x times 2x gives me 2x squared. So 2x times x, so 2x times x and 2x times 6 is 2x squared plus 12x, because 2x times a positive 6 is 12x. So now, remember what we talked about. Now you need to subtract it. So we subtract it. So when we subtract it, we turn the positive 2x squared to a negative 2x squared, and we change the positive 12x to a negative 12x. And now we did this because now we can cancel these. And we get positive 15x minus 12x is 3x, and now we're going to bring down the positive 18. Now, what goes into 3x? So what times x is going to give me 3x? In other words, what I need here is a 3x. So how do I get a 3x here? I have to multiply x times a positive 3. And now we're going to do the same thing. But we're going to take this, let's see if I can do it like this. Now we're going to take this 3, multiply it by the first, multiply it by the second. So there gives us that 3x, because 3 times x is 3x. Positive 3 times a positive 6, right here, positive 6, is a positive 18. And going back to our structure, we subtract everything inside, subtract, and guess what? Everything cancels to give us a remainder of 0. So again, we know that 2x plus 3 is a factor of our original polynomial. So what this basically tells me is that our original polynomial, which is equal to x plus 6 times 2x plus 3. Okay, that's not really the answer. The answer when you do this is right up here. So the answer is 2x plus 3. This is what we are mindful of. All right, so this is what this shows. And this is only true when you have a remainder of 0. Don't worry if it's a little confusing. Stop, write it down. I think the most important thing to do sometimes with these is put your pencil down and watch it. And then pick your pencil up, pause it, and write down what you need to. All right? So I'm just going to slide up a little bit because we're going to go up to where I said note. We will write the answer in the form of q of x plus, now this r represents a remainder. Now in this case we don't have a remainder, but we will look at ones that do have remainders. So right now we're just coming out with this q of x, which is the quotient. When we divide two polynomials, we always get another polynomial and a remainder. All right, this is known as writing the rational expression in quotient remainder form. Now, like I said, in the example that we just did, there is no remainder, or you can say the remainder is 0. Now we're going to move on to exercise 2. If you still need to pause and write down some more of exercise 1, please do that. Don't rush through it. Okay, so it's exercise 3. Sorry about that. So this says write each of the following rational expressions in the form of q of x, the quotient plus the remainder. So maybe these we're going to start seeing some remainders. So let's see what happens. So we have x minus 3 on the outside divided into x squared plus 2x minus 5. Again, please put your pencil down and just watch this for a second. We're going to ask ourselves, we need to have an x squared right here. So in order to get an x squared, I need to multiply x times x to get the x squared. But then don't forget, you have to also do the second term. So it's x times x and x times negative 3. So this becomes minus 3x. I'm going to remind you, make sure that you now change the signs, because this becomes a minus, this becomes a plus, these cancel, and 2x plus 3x is 5x, bring down the minus 5. So the next question we have to ask ourselves is, let's get rid of these, is what is going to give us a 5x over here? So in other words, I need a 5x here. So that means I need to multiply by positive 5. So when I multiply a positive 5 times x, I get my positive 5x. And now I do the minus 3. So I get positive 5 times minus 3, which is a minus 15. Remember, you have to change signs. This becomes a minus. This becomes a plus, because that's the only way these will cancel. Opposite signs. So now positive 5, negative 5 plus 15 is a positive 10. So that's my remainder. It says write the following in this format. So our answer is going to be x plus 5 plus 10 over our divisor, which is x minus 3. Okay, so write it down, and then we'll move on to B. So write it out. I'm writing kind of big here. You don't need to write as large as I am. But please, if you don't feel like you have enough room, put it on a separate piece of paper, because squishing things just forces you to make mistakes. So x goes into 2x squared. So I need to get a 2x squared down here. so I need to multiply by a 2x. So 2x squared times x is 2x squared. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 10 is a negative 20x. Remember to change signs, minus and plus. These cancel. Now I get 3x plus 17. Negative 3x plus 17. Now I need to get a negative 3 here, so I'm going to multiply by negative 3. That's going to give me negative 3x plus 30. Make sure you go back and change your signs. So these cancel. Negative 30 plus 17 is negative 13. So my answer, when we're all said and done, is going to be 2x minus 3. Now you can do it one of two ways, plus negative 13 over x minus 10, or you can say 2x minus 3 minus 13 over x minus 10. Either one of these is perfectly correct. Okay, when you finish up, I'll meet you at exercise 4. Okay, last one. So let's set this up as 2x minus 3 divided into 2x to the 4th minus 9x cubed plus 21x squared minus 26x plus 12. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I wrote it down properly, which it all looks good. Plus 12, 2x minus 3. So now we do our division. So remember, I need a 2x to the 4th right here. So what do I have to multiply by? X to the 3rd. So make sure you do both terms. So x cubed times 2x is 2x to the 4th. So you did this times this. And now you're going to do this one times this. So that's going to be, so are we understanding? So the next one's going to be minus 3x cubed. Now this isn't working out nice because everything is in order. So change your signs. Minus, plus, and then we get these canceling. So negative 9, positive 3 is a negative 6x cubed. And now bring down the plus 21x squared. So I need to get a negative 6x cubed here. So what I need to multiply by is a negative 3x squared. So that gives me the first one. So when I do this times this, I get that negative 6x cubed. And now I do this one times this one. Negative times a negative is a positive. So positive 9x squared. We're going to change signs again. So this changes to a plus. Notice how I circle them, because if I don't circle them, I forget if I actually change the sign. So these cancel, and I get positive 21 minus 9, which is going to be 12x squared. And I bring down the minus 26x. I need to get a 12x squared here. So that means I have to multiply by a positive 6x. So that gives me that one, minus 18x. Change my signs, negative, positive. If you're doing it in colors, it's easier to see, of course. These cancel, and I get 26 plus 18, negative 26 plus 18, which is negative 8x. bring down the plus 12. Let me just slide this up a little bit so I can get to that bottom part. So I need to get the negative 8x here. So that means I have to multiply by a negative 4. So remember, I did negative 4 times this one. I do negative 4 times this one. So that means it's going to be a positive 12 plus 12. Ah, nice! So this one turns out to be, change the signs, plus, minus, and here I get a remainder of 0. So my answer to this is going to be x cubed minus 3x squared plus 6x minus 4 with a remainder of 0. And the second part of this asks, what does that say about 2x minus 3? When you get a remainder of 0, that tells me that 2x minus 3 is a factor of the original polynomial, which is 2x to the 4th minus 9x cubed plus 21x squared minus 26x plus 12. Isn't that pretty cool? Like I said, once you get good at this, you tend to like this. This and systems of equations is another one that which we will be doing at the end of this unit. So we're going to spend some time on this in class, so don't fret if you're not getting it. And if you need to, go to YouTube, put in dividing polynomials, and you'll come up with a slew of different videos to watch. Okay? So until next time, always make good choices and make sure you practice these. Start with the independent practice. Get some of them done. All right? Because if it's fresh in your mind, you'll understand it a little bit better when you come into class. All right? You're doing great. Make sure you get that homework done. Bye now.